I am Serena. I am ADA Executive Assistant and I'm a Realtor. I am with the Be Experts Group, EXP Realty. Go back to Be Active pretty soon and I cannot wait. So I'm so ready to go out there and sell real estate back again. So I'm originally from Italy. You can tell I have an accent, I can hide it. But I'm very proud to be Italian, of course. I earned a master's degree in adult education and training in 2013 and a Bachelor of Science Psychology in 2008. I love teaching classes. I don't have an opportunity like this as often as I would like, so I do thank Ada for giving me the chance today to get myself back into this, so I'm very happy. So today we're going to talk about how to run the perfect discovery call. What do we mean by discovery call? Calling a potential buyer seller is one of the most important thing for us as realtors, right? It's our ticket to business, correct? So by discovery call, we mean like a discovery journey, exploring what exactly sellers, buyers are looking, what are their real estate needs, what are their goals, what are their issues, okay? So let's go take it from there. Let's see. Okay. It is a two-phase process because in the first part of the discovery call, we will not be focusing on selling our services as a real estate. In phase one, we mainly focus on the call itself. Then there will be a phase two of the process where actually we focus on the sales aspect. So there are two phases, discovery call and the sale phase of it, okay? So as a real estate agent, running the perfect discovery call is your ticket to business. It's the key to ask potential buyers or sellers the right question to make them realize what? They need us, they need you, right? So it's very important to use specific questions that I'm about to show you briefly. You can uncover what their needs, goals, and possible issues are, and then show them that your service is the right choice for them. This is why the qualified discovery phase is so important. Doing this right will set you up for a slam dunk during the discovery process. Okay? Any questions? Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, step one of the discovery call is state your agenda. What we mean by that? In this step, you state the goal of the call, introduce the idea of working together. You want to let them know why you're calling them. You're not just calling them to say, hi, how are you, right? We are calling them what? To introduce them the idea, the possibility of working together, okay? So you want to take control of the call from the beginning, and stating the agenda helps you to do that. It's very important to take control of the call from the first second that you contact potential buyer seller. You don't want to appear as insecure, as you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're talking about. So take charge of the call from the first second you speak with them. This helps prevent the prospect from rushing to ask you questions because you're in control from the beginning, and stating the agenda helps prevent that. I'm calling you because, check that out, what to say. And I do apologize, this is the part when my computer just didn't work well. So my goal for this call is to learn more about your real estate needs. That's what actually you should say when you reach out to potential sellers and buyers, right? From there, I will share with you a bit more about what I do, and if it makes sense, we can set up a consultation. I have nothing to sell you on this call. Sounds good? You don't want to appear like a salesperson right from the start, right? You don't want to put them pressure. You want to create that relationship even over the phone from the first second you contact them. You don't want to appear like, hi, I'm here to selling 3 bottles of water for 50 cents each. We don't want to do that. Absolutely not. So we'll see also why. First, I need to ask you a few questions to make sure it even makes sense for me to be talking about that, right? Okay. Let's move next. Step 2. In the first call, you reach out to them, so it's you directly calling potential buyer seller. But what happens, this is step 2, when they reach out to you as an agent? How that happens? It happens like when they're looking for an agent in a specific location, they might Google you. They might come up, you might come up, Google my business, right? They find Robert, say, hey, I want to Let me call this guy, see if he can give me help to find a house in Destin, right? So this is the case when actually they are reaching out to us instead of us call them directly. So in this step, you want to ask the prospect, potential seller or buyer, what made them reach out to you? The key here is to assume nothing. You probably have already an idea why they're reaching out to you, right? But you want the words to come out of their mouth. This frame of language part is important because even though they're not the ones talking, we're still in charge of the conversation. This reminds them that they reach out to you or decided to take the time to speak with you and puts us in control. What to say in this case? So if it's a buyer or seller who directly contacts you because finds this information or because it was somebody refer you to them, in this case, you will ask him, why did you take the time to reach out to me today? Right? And then you start the conversation from there. In step 3, this is one of the most important probably steps in the entire discovery call. We're gonna dig deep, right? We're gonna try really to explore there and figure out what these buyers and sellers are looking for, okay? So we will have important questions to ask and I will show you in a minute. In this step, you really want to dig deep into their needs or experience with the previous agent. If this is the case of an expired listing. If it's an expired listing, it's what? That the house was already previously put on the market for sale and it didn't sell, right? So a for sale by owner seller who listed with an agent previously or any other potential sellers and buyers. You have the case of for sale by owners. They put the house on the market because they perhaps had listed before with an agent. It was an expired listing. They were not happy with the service. They decided to sell it their own, maybe because they were frustrated, right? So we'll figure out why. You want to get very specific and extract all the details of the experiences and needs. So what we can ask really to discover, to explore what their needs and experiences are. These are some examples, of course. There are so many others that you could use. Are you a first-time buyer? If you are a first-time buyer, perhaps puts you in a different situation if you are a second or third-time buyer. You basically don't know anything about the entire buying process, correct? So what are the features your perfect home must have? Or what are your must-haves? A lot of real estate agents like to use it. What are your must-haves? Why do you think your home didn't sell with the previous agent? Does anybody ask that? You ask that sometime? Robert?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. What are you doing to find the buyer? Let's say this is the case of for sale by owner. What are you doing? This person is selling the house on his own. Doesn't have an agent. So how they are getting their buyers? Right? So you do ask that question. The key here is to ask question and then shush. Let them talk and listen intently to their answers. So this puts us in the other part of step 4 of the process, which is listen and empathize. In this step, you really want your listening skill to take charge. Zip it and listen, right? This is important because not all your customers are created equal. Each seller or buyer is a unique individual. Then you acknowledge and empathize. This gives them the chance to do what? To understand that you care about their needs and issues. Remember, you are in the discovery phase of the call. We are not selling our services as an agent at this point yet. So you want to connect with them. Create a relationship even over the phone. It is tough, and I'm one of those people that I learned the hard way. When I started real estate, I suck at calling prospects. I'm honest with you. And it's something that you learn with time, but it's essential because actually it's that gives you the ticket to the business with these people. So it's a very important, okay? Any questions on that? Okay, you stop me if something's not clear. So what do we can say to acknowledge and empathize? There are a few sentences that can come handy. I agree with you. I understand. I totally understand your point. I know how you feel, right? Thank you for sharing your experience with me. Let's say this is a seller who had a house on the market for 8 months. The house didn't sell. He's pissed. The house sitting on the market for a long time. He lost the money. Perhaps he had a date he had to move. He had to change his plans. So he's pissed, right? So of course, you thank them for sharing their experience with you. I'm here to help you. I hear what you're saying. You want them to know that you're really listening. Hearing and listening, right? They want to know that you completely pay full attention to them. And it feels like you haven't been really stressed. So do you have other examples that you can think of? You can bring it up? Anything that you can use? Yeah, go ahead.
If it's contingent, then, I mean, if this doesn't sell, then it's a domino effect, right? So when you're saying you agree, timing is everything.
Correct. Very good. Time is the essence, right? Mm-hmm. Even when we write the contract, time is the essence. Yeah. Okay. Set the tone of your discovery call. That's something that I had to work hard on it. This is one of the most important aspects of the process. The tone of the discovery call determines your approach to the entire conversation with your prospect. Is your tone too aggressive when you call potential buyers and sellers? I was originally. I don't deny it. I was. I was aggressive and I didn't let them speak. And that's not okay. When you do that, they cut the conversation. So I learned that the hard way. Are you letting the environment around you, including your mood of the day and your issue, affecting the call? Right? I say you're having a bad day. And Robert, you call me, oh, Miss Johnson, this is Robert. No, it's not okay, right? You want to be upbeat. You want to them feel that you're a happy person, right? That's contagious. Or same thing, you very upset. Somebody upset you at the office. You had a bad day with another buyer or seller. Don't let that affect you when you talk to them. Just take a deep breath, get the call, make the call, and just let them perceive that positive energy, okay? So think about it. Nobody likes to interact with people coming across with the wrong tone. It makes the person on the other side what? Defensive, and most likely prone to cut the conversation right away. And we don't want that, right? We want to get the business. We want to have the buyer and seller working with us. So just take the deep breath, make the call with a smile on your face. Your prospect might not see it unless you do a FaceTime call. You might, but they can still perceive it, right? Keep an upbeat approach. Stay positive. Positive energy is contagious, okay? Everybody likes to hear a nice voice on the other side. Hey, Miss Johnson, how are you today? This is blah, blah, blah. I'm calling because you left me a message about wanting to see this house, okay? Just stay upbeat, stay positive, okay? So now we go really digging deep on some of the important questions that we can ask to potential buyers, sellers. So we do have 3 categories here. We have buyers, then we have sellers, and then we have sellers for expired listing and sellers for sale by owners, okay? So let's go ahead and look at some of these questions. Let me know if you use any of these, if you ever before. So these are some possible questions for potential buyers. General rule of thumb, try to use as many as possible open-ended questions. What that means? It means that with an open-ended question, you engage the potential buyer seller in a conversation. If you ask just, for example, this case, are you working with another agent? You have to. They can say yes and they can say no, right? But you want them to engage in the conversation. So, for example, how would you rate your motivation to buy a new home on a scale from 1 to 10, right? Or what are areas and neighbors are you considering? What is your time frame to purchase? You don't ask them, are you moving next month or are you moving today? You just ask them an open-ended question. They can give you an answer that you can continue to engage them in the conversation. Have you already spoken with a lender? What is your email address so I can send you a list of local lenders in case you should need one? Right? So you have the first question, then you have the following one that engage them into the financing aspect of buying a house. They might tell you, I already have a lender, and then you're going to say, great, that's fantastic. Who is your lender? So keep engaging in that conversation. What kind of loan have you been approved for? Keep engaging in that conversation, okay? Any questions on these you can think of? Any other ones that would you like to add? Of course, these are some of the questions that we can ask, and not all of them, but they're helpful. Okay, these are some questions to ask to potential sellers instead. Of course, let's see that they contact you, you don't know where they live, you need to know their address, right? So this is one of the first questions, what is your current home address? What are you considering to sell and move? Do you ask that question? Robert, do you ask that question sometimes?
Yeah, I'm not in that
order. It doesn't have to be a specific order. The way I place it in here is just to give you a general idea. Of course, then it's up to you. Just to give you some tips on what questions might be helpful, but then it's up to you how you want to order it, rearrange them.
I might say, what's the purpose of what's the reason for this purchase? Why are you looking into it?
Great, okay, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. What made you want to call this home a home? Let them talk about their home. Why did you buy this home in the first place? What attracted you to the house? Was it the inside? Was it the outdoor? Was the location? Could be all of them, right? What is a sale price you're considering for your if you have one? Ask them. That's a good question to ask, because a lot of times sellers have a really misconception of what their house is worth. So that's a good question to ask. Are you aware of the average sale price of homes sold in your neighborhood? That's another one to ask. They might know, they might not know. That's where you jump in. You show your knowledge, right? When do you want to move? You want to know all this. Is there anyone else, friends or relatives who might need my assistance? That's good for you if you want to have referral. They might tell you, well, you know, Robert, I'm not sure if I want to buy now, if I want to sell now, maybe next year, but you know, I have my aunt or my cousin actually lives here, would like to sell their house. Here you go, you got you right there. Another lead, right? What, if any, objections do you think a buyer will have about your home? This one, I like it a lot. You want them, the seller, realize that there might be some objections, and they have to be aware of it, or what these objection might be, right? They might have not even thought about it prior to you asking this question. So it's good to let them become more realistic about the conditions of the house and so forth, right? Okay. These are some of the questions to ask to for sale by owners. Why did you decide to try and sell your home yourself? When I called for sale by owners in the past, the typical answer was, we don't want to pay high commission to the agent. That's typical answer that they give you all the time. How many showings did you have so far? Right? You can ask that question. You can know from there. I mean, they might lie to you. Of course, they might. What are you doing to find a buyer? Not only you as an agent want to know what are they doing, but that make them realize maybe I'm not doing enough to get a buyer, so it's better that I get an agent, right, to help me out to sell this house. Would you allow me to have an open house for you? You find a lot of for sale by owners, they're very harsh, and they might don't want to hear it, but then you can still come handy to them and say, I can host an open house for you. Would you allow me to do it? Okay, and then you go into details with that. What knowledge do you have of contract negotiation? You can put it right here in a situation where they start to think about it. Uh-oh, shoot, I don't know much about contracts, right? So that's make them think about it. Maybe I need this Robert, Chiara, Greg help to get my house sold, right? If you were to list, what would you expect your agent to do? Ask them about their expectations, what they want from an agent. How can I assist you as you continue to sell the home yourself? Even if you find a very harsh stuff for sale by owner seller, you can still show them that you're there to help. People like to be helped, right? So just make yourself available. They might change your mind. They might call you after a week and say, you know what, Robert, I like you, and you made me think a lot about my situation, selling the home by myself. I'm decided, could you please list the home for us? Okay? These are some questions that to ask to aspire listing sellers. How did you select your first agent? We want to know. What things did your first agent do right? That's an important one. A lot of agents ask the opposite, ask what things the other agent did wrong. You don't want to do that. You want to ask them, what did they do right? Right? And then from there, you can already in your mind plan what you're going to do better. And then from there say, by the way, I think that having professional pictures on the listing will help a lot. Without say your agent, their picture are, right? Don't do that. Just put yourself a step above and don't talk negative about other agents. Just point it out what was missing, but just do it in a professional way. If you were to list your home, what do I need to do so that you will have a stellar experience, a wonderful experience with me? Ask them their expectations, so you know what you're dealing with from the start. How has all this time the house stayed on the market unsold impacted your regional plans? It cost them money. They had to perhaps revise all their plans for moving, maybe they did a lot of renovations, they made some improvements, and then they couldn't still sell the home. So just ask all those questions. What is your time frame for moving if you are still planning to move? And then it's a good question to ask, because from here you can also say, okay, so where are you moving? And then I'm going to say, I'm moving from Navarre to Santa Rosa Beach. And I'm say, great, I can help you to find a home in Santa Rosa Beach. So now you see what I'm trying to say? So what feedback did you receive from people who visited your home? That's another good one. Why feedbacks are important? Even if this is not an aspire listing, why feedbacks are important? You want to know what people think of your house. You want to know maybe there's something that you might change that might get your house sold. So you want to ask that question. How do you think your home was priced? We all know that number one reason why a house doesn't sell is because it's not priced right. Correct? You want to ask that. How do you think your home was priced? Do they have a realistic vision, idea what the home value of the house is? Correct? And that's where you can jump to in. You should already know pretty much based on the neighborhood, the location, have an idea, right? Why do you think your house did not sell? They can tell you, was the listing agent, he didn't do this and that, right? But it also could have been them that they did agree to list it for the right price. Maybe they asked too much for the neighborhood, okay? Or maybe because the house was in really bad conditions, and maybe perhaps the listing agent did suggest to make some improvements and they didn't want to, right? So keep that in mind. Any questions on these questions? Okay. So in this slide right here, it's more about you do like in a sort of introspection and figure it out what are actually things that can affect in a negative way where you make a discovery call, where you call a potential buyer and sellers, and just try to understand why my computer does this. A second. There you go. Ask yourself this question. Do you find difficult to call prospects? Be honest. Is it easy for you to call potential buyers, sellers?
Not really.
It never was, or maybe it got better with time, where you started to...
It gets better with time, but sometimes you meet there's always a different personality on the other side of the phone. So.
Correct. Okay. Do you feel anxious when making the call? Are you an anxious person? Some people are more anxious than others. Yeah. The heart starts to beat fast.
You start talking fast. You catch yourself.
Correct. That was me. You're like... Talking fast and not listening. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. That was me at the beginning. Absolutely. How often do you call prospects?
Pretty often.
Good. Okay. Do you think that calling is better than texting or emailing?
For the initial touch, absolutely.
Okay.
And after
So,
that, it's your call.
correct. That's also how I deal with leads. There's always the call. If they don't pick it up, if they can leave a voicemail, and a lot of people don't listen to voicemail, but it's always nice to leave a voicemail. So it's a call, there's email, there's a text. Day 2, call, email, text. Day 3, call, email, text. If you still don't get any response, hopefully by the 3rd day, somehow they reply you back. Whether they call you back, whether they mail you back, whether they text you back. Of course, you have some potential buyers, sellers. They might don't like to talk over the phone. They love to text. So you have to be smart in there and understand who you have in front of you. Okay, this guy doesn't like to talk. This guy loves to text. It's the only way he replies to me. Good. Keep engaging him through text. That's perfectly fine. It's clear that's their preferred way to communicate. It's texting, so go ahead, engage them like that. Same thing with emailing. I had a seller who, unfortunately, he had some hearing issues, so the calls were not working for him. He was not somebody who liked to text on a cellular phone, so the only way we communicated was through emails. Now it appears to be a little bit old school today, but you have to learn that. No, all buyers and sellers are the same, so just keep that in mind. Or you can also ask, what is your preferred way of communicating? Right? They can tell you, please call me all the time. No, please don't call me, just text me or just email me. Okay. Do you feel as you can start the conversation, then feel lost at some point? Can you keep the conversation going? Do you feel like you don't know what to say, or do you feel you get in a panic mode and then you get stuck, like frozen, and you don't know what else to say? I did that before. So.
When you first start doing it, absolutely.
Yes,
And
correct.
you get a bit more comfortable for sure.
Can you overcome objections?
Mm-hmm.
How do you overcome objections?
I mean, what works for me is not highlighting what they can't have or what you can't do, but highlighting what you can.
Correct. So if there's a negative, you throw there a positive, right? So that's the best way to do it. Thank you for sharing your experience. Go ahead.
Other than that, sometimes the first objection is not the real objection.
Yeah, then you can.
Sometimes you have to say other than that. So it's to help isolate the objection.
Correct.
Because a lot of times they'll throw something out there just to throw it out, but it's not really the real root of why they're.
So you say it's good in that point just to dig a little bit more.
Yeah. So before you actually respond to their objection, okay, other than this, is there anything else that would hold you back from either listing or buying? So you
Perfect.
Further. And then it's like, well, yeah, actually, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you got another objection, so then you can start isolating.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Greg. Perfect. Any other questions on these questions? Okay. So we are at the end of the presentation, so we're going to do a short sum up, and then I take questions if you have any. Again, this is the first phase of the sale process, right? So we are in phase 1, the discovery call. Then from there, you get your ticket to what? What are we trying to do here? To get their business, right? So we want to get set up their appointment for what? For the consultation, for the listing appointment. And that's when you have all your sales skills coming out. Don't do it right away, right on the call. Make them feel comfortable. Make them like you. You don't have to sell right away, put pressure right away, right? You want to get to what? To that appointment. So set your goals. Appointment. Once you're at the appointment, then you want the listing. Then you want the buyer, want them put an offer with you, right? So just step by step. So to sum up, you set your agenda. What is about? Again, listen, really listen to the potential buyers and sellers and what they have to say. Don't do like I did at first. Just don't let anybody to talk. Acknowledge and empathize, okay? Acknowledge their pain, acknowledge their stress, their frustration. I'm here for you. I understand. I agree completely. Second, I can help you. Set the call tone to determine the entire approach to the conversation. Remember, don't be aggressive. Don't come out across as an aggressive selling person. This is not who we are as agents. Yes, we sell. Yes, we do. But this is not who we are. We don't want to come across like that, okay? Now you want to invite the prospect to move to the next phase of the sale process, scheduling your consultation and or your listing appointment, okay? Any questions? Anything you can think of? No? Was it clear? Was it helpful?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to have a part 2, not sure when, that we're going to engage you more in what is the sale process is. So once we get that appointment schedule, then we can talk about perhaps the consultation appointment, the listing appointment, what we're going to say, what we're going to do, how we're going to get that seller sign that exclusive right to sale agreement, right? So that's what we want to do. So we'll talk about that on another Lunch and Learn. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for attending, and we hope to see you next Lunch and Learn. Okay, enjoy your food. Thank you.